You have spent nights worrying about someone you can no longer protect the way you once did. You know the kind of night I mean. The house is quiet. The dishes are done. Everyone who is supposed to be asleep is asleep. And yet you are awake, lying in the dark with your eyes open, staring at the ceiling while your mind walks down a hallway it cannot leave. You are thinking about them. The one you raised, the one whose first cry you remember, the one whose small hand once wrapped around your finger like the whole world depended on you. And back then, it did. You were everything to them once. You could fix a scraped knee with a kiss. You could chase away the monsters under the bed. You could stand between your child and the whole world and say, "Not while I am here." But they are not small anymore. And somewhere along the way, the world stopped asking your permission before it touched them. So tonight, you lie there, and you wonder. You wonder where they are. You wonder if they are safe. You wonder if they ate today, if they are sleeping, if they are crying somewhere you cannot see. You reach for your phone and you check it, even though you know there is no message. You read the last conversation again. You search the words for something you might have missed, some clue, some sign that they are okay or that they are slipping. You put the phone down, you pick it up again, and the quiet of the night presses down on you like a weight you have carried so long you have almost forgotten it is there. I want you to stop for just a moment, dear one, and hear me before you scroll away, before you let the noise of tomorrow pull you back under. Hear me. I am not speaking to a crowd right now. I am speaking to you. Yes, you, the one who has been carrying a name in your heart like a stone you cannot set down. I know who you are praying for. I know the face you see when you close your eyes. And I have something to tell you that I do not want you to miss, because it is the very thing your tired heart has been aching to hear. Stay with me through what I am about to say, because by the time we are finished, you are going to understand 3 things you have not been able to see clearly in the dark. You are going to understand what I am doing in this long season of waiting. You are going to understand why you, of all people, were given this particular fear to carry. And you are going to understand, finally and deeply, why your child, no matter how far they have wandered, no matter what choices they have made, no matter how silent they have become, is not, has never been, and will never be beyond my reach. I promise you that before this is over, the weight on your chest is going to feel lighter. Just stay with me. Let me sit with you first in the place where you actually live, because I do not want to rush past it. So many people rush past your pain. They tell you not to worry. They tell you to give it to God, as though it were as simple as setting down a bag of groceries. They do not understand that this is not a bag. This is your child. This is flesh of your flesh, the years of your life poured out, the prayers whispered over a crib, the lunches packed, the fevers watched through the night, the report cards and the recitals, and the long drives and the slammed doors, and the making up afterwards. You did not love this person casually, and so you cannot worry about them casually either. I know what it is like for you now. I know you wake before the sun some mornings with a feeling in your stomach, before your mind even remembers why. And then it comes back to you, the situation, and the day begins already heavy. I know you go about your tasks, the cooking, the errands, the ordinary motions of an ordinary life, while half of your heart is somewhere else entirely, somewhere you cannot follow. You smile when people ask how you are. You say you are fine. You have learned to carry this quietly, the way a mother learns to carry so many things quietly. Because who could you tell? And what could they do anyway? I know there are conversations you replay, the last hard one, the words you wish you had not said, or the words you wish you had said and did not. You turn them over and over, wondering if it was your fault, if you pushed too hard or not hard enough, if you held on too tightly or let go too soon. You wonder about the years when they were young. You wonder if you missed something, if you had been more patient, more present, more careful, more anything, would they be different now? That guilt sits in the corner of the room and waits for the quiet hours to speak up, and it always knows exactly what to say to wound you. And the fear, oh dear one, I know the fear. It is not a small thing. It is not a vague unease. It has a shape and a name. You are afraid of what might happen. You are afraid of the road they are on and where it leads. You are afraid of the people around them, the choices in front of them, the burdens they are carrying that you cannot lift. Maybe they have stopped going to church, and you remember when their faith was simple and bright, and now you do not know what they believe, or if they believe at all, and that frightens you more than almost anything, because you know what waits at the end of the road they have chosen, and you cannot make them turn around. Maybe they are making choices that are tearing them down, and you can see it happening from where you stand. And there is nothing more painful than watching someone you love walk toward a cliff while you stand too far away to reach them. Maybe they are struggling in their mind and their heart, sinking into something dark, and they will not let you in. And you would trade places with them in an instant if you could. You would carry every ounce of their pain in your own body to spare them, but you cannot. And so you carry the next best thing, which is the unbearable awareness of it. Maybe they have just grown distant. No fight, no dramatic break, just a slow drifting. The calls less frequent, the visits shorter, the warmth cooled to politeness, until you feel like you are loving someone through a pane of glass. And you do not even fully understand why. You go back through your memory, looking for the moment it changed, and you cannot find it, because it was not a moment. It was 1,000 small moments you did not notice while they were happening. Listen to me now, because here is the first thing I need you to hear. All of that worry, all of that fear, all of that aching love that keeps you awake, it did not come from weakness. It is not a flaw in you. It is not a lack of faith. That love is one of the truest things about you, and I put it there. I am the one who knit a mother's heart together, and I made it to love like this, fiercely, sleeplessly, without limit. So do not despise your own heart for breaking. The breaking is the proof of how deeply you were built to love. But I do not want you to break alone. And that is where everything I am about to tell you begins. If you are praying tonight for a son or a daughter, I want you to do something small, but real. I want you to write it down where I and others can see it. Just write, "I'm still praying." Put those 3 words somewhere in the comments below, Because there is power when a praying heart refuses to give up, and there is comfort in knowing you are not the only one keeping watch in the dark. I'm still praying. Let that be your quiet declaration tonight. Now let me show you something. Most parents in your position never realize this, and it is the thing that begins to loosen fear's grip, finger by finger. You are not the first parent to lie awake over a child who walked away. You are not the first to love someone you could not control. I want to take you back, far back, to a story I once told with my own voice, because I told it for someone exactly like you. I told it for the father who waits. There was a man who had 2 sons, and one day the younger son came to him and asked for his share of the inheritance. Now you must understand what that meant. In that time and that place, to ask for your inheritance while your father still lived was to say, in effect, I wish you were already gone. It was a wound dressed up as a request. It was a son saying, I do not want your house, your wisdom, your guidance, your love. I only want what I can take from you, and then I want to leave. I want you to feel what that father felt. Picture him standing there. Picture his face. He had raised this boy. He had taught him to walk, taught him the work of his hands, told him stories under the stars, planned a future for him. And now the boy was asking for money and a door. The father could have refused. He had every right. He could have argued, could have raged, could have locked the gates and forbidden it. Instead, he did something that must have cost him more than we can imagine. He gave his son what he asked for, and he let him go. Do you understand what kind of love that is? It is the love that opens its hand when everything inside it wants to close into a fist. It is the love that says, I cannot make you stay, and I will not make you a prisoner of my fear. It is the hardest love there is. And dear one, if you have ever had to let an adult child make a choice you knew would hurt them, if you have ever had to step back and watch them walk through a door you wanted to slam shut, then you already know this father. You have stood where he stood. The son took his money and went to a far country. The scriptures say he wasted it on wild living. He spent it all, and when it was gone, a famine came, and he found himself feeding pigs. A young man raised in a good home, now so hungry, he longed to eat the slop he was feeding to animals. He had hit the bottom. He had run out of everything. But I want you to take your eyes off the son for a moment, because the part of this story I most want you to see is what was happening back home the whole time he was gone. Because here is what I need you to hear, and I am speaking it straight to you, dear one. While the son was in the far country, the father never stopped loving him, not for a single day. The boy thought he had escaped. He thought he had cut the cord, but there was a love following him across every mile that he could not feel, and did not deserve, and could not outrun. How do I know the father never stopped? Because of what happens at the end of the story. When the son finally came to his senses and turned toward home, the scriptures say that while he was still a long way off, his father saw him. Think about that. While he was still a long way off. That means the father was looking. That means the father had been looking for a long time. Day after day, that man went out and lifted his eyes to the horizon, searching the distance for a shape he would recognize anywhere, the walk of his own child. He did not know if his son was alive or dead. He did not know if he would ever come back. But he watched anyway. He hoped anyway. He waited anyway. I know who you were praying for, and I know that you too have been watching the horizon. I know you have learned to read the distance for any sign of your child turning toward home, toward faith, toward healing, toward you. I see you doing it. I see you lift your eyes every time the phone rings, every time a car pulls up, every time you let yourself hope just a little. You are the father in this story. The waiting is yours. And so, dear one, is the promise hidden inside it. Here is something you have not considered, and it changes everything about your waiting. The father in my story could only watch the road. He could see as far as the horizon and no farther. He had no way of knowing where his son was sleeping that night. No way of knowing whether he was hungry or cold. No way of reaching across the miles to touch him. His love was real, but his reach was small. And that is exactly where you live too. You love without limit, but your reach has a horizon, and your child has walked beyond it. And that, more than anything, is what tortures you in the dark. But hear me carefully now, because this is the turn the whole story has been moving toward. I am not bound by horizons. The father in the parable was a picture, and every picture has a frame. But I have no frame. When your child walks beyond your sight, they do not walk beyond mine. When they go where you cannot follow, I am already there. There is no far country far enough. There is no road dark enough. There is no door locked tightly enough to keep me out. You cannot be everywhere your child is. I can. You cannot see what they are doing tonight. I see it. You cannot reach into their heart and change what is there. I can, and I do, in ways you may never witness and would not believe if I told you. This is where fear begins to lose its grip. Not because the danger disappears. Not because I promise you that nothing hard will ever happen. But because the thing your fear has been screaming at you, that your child is alone out there, beyond help, beyond reach, in the dark by themselves, is not true. It has never been true. Your child has never spent one single second outside of my sight, even in the far country, even in the pig pen, even in the choices that break your heart. I was there. I am there now. I will be there tomorrow night when you cannot sleep again. I want you to do something for me. I want you to take that name, the name you carry in your heart, the one you have been praying over, and I want you to write it here in the simplest way. If the one you love is a son, write the word son. If the one you love is a daughter, write the word daughter. Just that one word, because when you write it, you are placing them, by name, into a space where I and a whole gathering of praying hearts can hold them up together. One word. Son, daughter. Let it be your way of saying, this one, Lord. This is the one I am trusting you with. Now I know what your fear says back to me. Your fear says, but you let the prodigal go all the way down. You let him reach the pig pen. You did not stop it. And that is true. I did not stop it. So let me tell you something that is hard and holy at the same time. Sometimes the far country is the very road home. Sometimes the pig pen is where a heart finally wakes up. The son did not come to his senses in his father's house, surrounded by comfort and provision. He came to his senses at the bottom, when everything he had chasing had failed him. when the emptiness of the life he had built grew louder than the pride that had led him there. Hear me, beloved, because this is something most parents never make peace with. You have been praying, perhaps, that I would protect your child from every hard consequence, that I would smooth the road, soften the fall, keep them comfortable. And I understand that prayer. It is love that prays it. But sometimes, the most loving thing I can do is not to remove the famine, but to use it. Sometimes, the very struggle you are begging me to take away is the thing I am using to bring them to the end of themselves, to the place where they finally look up. I am not wasting their pain. I am not absent from it. I am working in it, patiently, in ways too deep for you to see from where you stand on the horizon. I do not say this to make light of your fear. I say it to give your fear somewhere to rest. Because if I can use even the far country, even the famine, even the long silence, then there is no situation your child is in that is outside my ability to redeem. None. The worst thing that could happen is not beyond my reach to turn toward good. And that means your waiting is not empty waiting. It is not helpless waiting. It is waiting on a God who is actively at work in a place you cannot see, on a person you cannot reach, doing things you have not yet been told about. I know you have cried over this. I have seen every tear. Not one of them has fallen unnoticed, unrecorded, uncared for. The scriptures say, I keep your tears in a bottle, and I want you to know that is not poetry to me. It is true. Every night you have wept into your pillow so no one would hear. Every time your voice broke in prayer, and you could not finish the sentence. Every moment you held it together in front of others, and then fell apart alone in the car. I was there. I counted them. I caught them. If you have cried over this situation, over this child, I want you to write 3 words and let them be a release, not a defeat. Write, God sees me, because I do. I see you in a way no one else ever has. God sees me. Say it to yourself, even now. Let me show you the most beautiful part of the Father's story. The part I most want you to hold on to. When the son finally turned toward home, the father did not wait for him to arrive. The scriptures say that while the boy was still a long way off, the father saw him and was filled with compassion and ran. He ran. Now in that culture, a dignified older man did not run. It was undignified. It would have meant lifting his robes and exposing his legs, looking foolish in front of the whole village. But the father did not care. He saw his son, that distant, ragged figure, still far away, and he could not contain himself. He ran down the road to close the distance his son could not yet close on his own. Do you see it? The son was walking back slowly, ashamed, rehearsing his apology, certain he had forfeited his place, ready to beg to be treated as a hired servant. But the father covered most of the distance himself. The boy took a few stumbling steps toward home, and the father came running the rest of the way. That is the heart of the one you are trusting your child to. When your child takes even one small step in my direction, even a half-hearted one, even a step taken only because they have run out of other options, I am not standing far off with my arms crossed, making them earn their way back. I am running toward them. I close the distance. I always have. So when you pray for your wandering one, I do not want you to picture me reluctant. I do not want you to picture me waiting to be convinced, keeping a record of how far they fell, deciding whether they deserve to come back. I want you to picture the running father. I want you to picture the robe lifted, the dust kicked up, the arms already open before the apology is even spoken, because that is who is waiting at the end of your child's road. Not a judge tapping his foot, a father running, and the father in the story did not lecture his son. The boy began his rehearsed speech. "Father, I have sinned. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." And the father barely let him finish. He called for the best robe, and a ring for his finger, and sandals for his feet, and a feast. He did not say, "Where have you been? Do you know what you put me through? Do you know how many nights I did not sleep?" He did not make the boy grovel. He restored him fully, instantly, completely, as if the far country had never happened. That is the welcome I have prepared. That is the kind of love that is holding the one you are praying for. Now I must say something gently, because I love you, and I want you free. You have been carrying this child as though their salvation, their healing, their turning around depends entirely on you. As though if you pray hard enough, worry long enough, say the right thing at the right moment, you can engineer their return. And when you cannot, you sink into helplessness, because the weight of saving a soul was never meant for human shoulders, and yours have been buckling under it. Set it down, beloved. Not the love, never the love. Set down the impossible job you have given yourself. You were never meant to be your child's savior. That role is taken. It is mine. Your job was to love them, and you have done that, and you are doing it still. The changing of the heart, the opening of the eyes, the drawing home, that is my work, and I am very, very good at it. I have been bringing prodigals home since the beginning of time, and I have never once needed a parent to do my job for me. I only ask you to do yours, which is to love and to pray and to trust and to keep your own lamp lit in the window. This is the difference between fear and trust, and I want to make it plain because it will set you free. Fear says, everything depends on me, and I am not enough. Trust says, everything depends on him, and he is more than enough. Fear keeps you awake rehearsing every terrible possibility. Trust lets you close your eyes knowing that the one who never sleeps is keeping watch in the very place you cannot go. Fear shrinks your child down to the size of your own reach, and panics at how small that reach is. Trust hands your child up to the one whose reach has no end. You have spent so long in fear. I am not condemning you for it. Fear is what love does when it forgets how big I am. But tonight, I am inviting you to make a different choice. Not a feeling, a choice. The feelings may take time to follow. You may lie down tonight, and the worry may still come knocking. That is all right. Trust is not the absence of fear. Trust is what you do with your fear. Trust is taking the worry again and again, as many times as it returns, and placing it back into my hands. You may have to do it 100 times tonight. Do it 100 times. Each time, you are training your heart to remember who is actually holding your child. If you are willing tonight to choose trust over fear, Even though nothing in your circumstances has changed yet, even though you have no proof, no phone call, no sign, I want you to make it real by writing it. Write, I trust you. Not because you feel it perfectly, not because the fear is gone, but because you are choosing, by an act of your will, to believe that I am holding what you cannot. I trust you. Let that be the prayer your hands pray when your heart is still catching up. Let me tell you what I see when I look at the years ahead, the years you cannot see. I will not promise you a timeline, because I do not deal in the quick fixes the world is always selling. The father in the story did not get his son back the next morning. There were seasons of silence, of not knowing, of watching an empty road. Real waiting is long, and I will not insult your intelligence by pretending otherwise. But I will tell you this. The same patience that kept that father at the window is the patience I am asking of you, and it is not passive. It is the most active, powerful thing a parent can do. To keep loving when there is no response. To keep praying when there is no answer. To keep the door unlocked and the light on, year after year. That is not weakness. That is the strongest kind of faith there is. And while you keep that light on, I am at work. Hear me, dear one. In the silence that frightens you most, I am not silent. In the distance that feels like loss, I am moving. The conversations you are not part of, I am part of them. The moments when your child lies awake in their own darkness, and you do not even know it is happening. I am there in that room, whispering to a heart you can no longer reach. I am placing people in their path. I am letting certain doors close so that the right one might open. I am loosening the grip of the things that have a hold on them. You see none of it from the horizon, but it is happening. It has been happening this whole time. You asked me, in all those sleepless nights, even if you never said it out loud, you asked me, where are you in this? And here is my answer. I am everywhere you cannot be. I am in the far country with your child right now. I am on the road, watching for them to turn. I am in your bedroom tonight, sitting with you in the dark, closer than your own breath. I have been with you both the entire time, holding two ends of a story that is not finished yet. And I promise you, I know how it ends in a way you do not, and I am not finished writing it. So let me return to where we started, to the promise I made you at the very beginning. I told you that you would understand what I am doing, why you carry this fear, and why your child is not beyond my reach. Now you know. What I am doing is working, patiently and unseen, in a place beyond your horizon. Why you carry this fear is because you were built to love without limit, and that love is holy, but it was never meant to be carried alone. And why your child is not beyond my reach is the simplest truth of all. There is no far country outside of my presence. There is no prodigal I cannot find. There is no road I will not run down the moment they turn toward home. You came here tonight, carrying someone you could no longer protect the way you once did. I want you to leave understanding that you were never their only protection, and you were never carrying them alone. The arms that held them when they were small are not your arms only. They are mine, and mine do not grow tired, and mine do not have a horizon, and mine never, ever let go. So lay your head down tonight, beloved. Lay it down knowing that while you sleep, I am awake. While you rest, I am working. The watch you have kept so faithfully, so wearily, for so long, you do not have to keep it alone anymore. Hand it to me when you close your eyes, and I will keep it through the night, and I will still be keeping it when you wake. Your child is not lost to me. Your child is not too far from me. Your child is not beyond me. Whatever country they are in, I am the God who is already there. You do not have to carry your child alone. You never did. You can trust me even when you cannot see what I am doing, because I can see all of it. And I am good, and I am near, and I am not finished. Before you go, let this be the declaration that you carry out of tonight and into every sleepless night to come. Let it be the truth that quiets the fear when it returns, the words you whisper into the dark when you have no others. Write them, and then live them. My child is in God's hands. Rest now, dear one. My child is in God's hands. They always have been. They always will be. And so are you.